Elisha LightAngel here, and I'm bringing you some life wisdom, just giving it to you from my heart to yours. So if you like what you see today, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more, I will be uploading more videos. Hit that subscribe button and ping that little bell. And now for today's topic. Good day, beautiful, and welcome. Today, my topic is over crossed boundaries. So if you're not aware of what a boundary is, check out my last video on WTF is a boundary. And I just list out some basics on boundaries and what they are and the different types. And that leads me to today. Whenever you are first getting into the topic of boundaries and discovering how it applies to your life and what it is that you need, or how your boundaries really affect you and how it is you can exert those so that you can feel in a better place for yourself and you can really feel like you have a little bit better handle on your life. So moving into this, I've got 5 different feelings that you can look at and examine when you're feeling them to see if maybe you actually had a boundary that you it was too weak and you didn't really exert it, or maybe you didn't realize that you had that boundary and so now the line has been crossed and all of these feelings are rising up and you're trying to figure out why. So the top 5 that I have put together for you. Number 1 is whenever you're feeling resentment and anger. And this just can well up after a situation of dealing with someone, or sometimes it's several instances that are small and they lead up, and now you have this big boom and here you are feeling anger and resentment toward a person or a situation, toward work, whatever it is. So why or what kind of situations would you put yourself into, or have maybe weaker boundaries that would allow these to come up and let you know? If you're giving away too much of your time, that could be time that you're giving to your work. Maybe you're the go-to person that they ask to fill in that overtime all the time. Maybe you are that constant go-to person and you always feel like you need to say yes when you feel like saying no. And what happens is you give away more of your time. Or maybe you're in a social activity and you feel the need to put more of your time and effort into that situation than you actually maybe have the real time and energy to do, but now you've overcommitted yourself and you're trying to make this happen. So you start getting resentful of whatever it is you're giving your time and your energy to when you do not have it to give. You are saying yes and when you want to say no. You know what I mean. Like somebody comes up to you, asks you a question, and in your brain, you're like, no, don't want to do that. And what comes out of your mouth? Yes. And then you're kicking yourself in the butt because you just said yes when you really wanted to say no. Sometimes this is really apparent. You have this whole thought process going on in your brain, and it is that thing. Sometimes you're not even aware that you are saying yes when you want to say no because you have underlying things in your life where you really feel the need to be validated in other ways, and you feel that if you give that yes instead of the no, that's going to help you feel more validated. But the result is, again, feeling more of that anger and resentment toward the situation or the person. Maybe on the same note, you're agreeing to things that you don't really want to agree, but you feel like you need to. You feel that need to be liked. So now you're angry and resentful because you agreed to things you didn't want to agree to, and here you are. You are making sacrifices at your own expense. You got that? When you're saying yes to things you want to say no to, when you're agreeing to the things that you don't want to agree to, when you're giving all of your time and energy away, this is really having a negative impact on your personal physical health and your mental health. And it's no bueno. So that brings me to the number 2 thing that I came up with, and you start to feel depressed. You start to feel tired and drained, physically tired and drained, mentally tired and drained. Just literally overall, you feel it might be hard to get out of the bed in the mornings and get up and do things. It might be hard to motivate yourself to want to go do these things because you have given so much of yourself away without protecting any of that for you. And it's back to, you were angry and resentful because you said yes when you wanted to say no. Now you're really tired and drained because you are giving all of your time and energy to something that's not serving you. Or if it is serving you, it's not enough. You haven't filled up your own cup internally and taken care of the things that you need to do for yourself so that you can actually feel more alive, full of energy, and able to give back in the way that you want, or to give back in the way you feel might bring you positive feedback from others. You are getting out of touch with your own needs, and when you're feeling really depressed, tired, and drained, it's time for you to actually reflect and evaluate what it is that you genuinely need. What do you realistically need for sleep each night? What do you realistically need when it comes to your actual wellness and your fitness? What do you need for the amount of time and personal space? What do you need that is going to make you feel better? Find those things, particular only to you, because that's going to help you do better moving forward in life. And especially as you learn how to be better at exerting your own boundaries. And as you get better at exerting your own boundaries, that's really going to help liven you up a little bit. At least that's been my experience in my own life. So number 3 is feeling of being violated. So something's happened, a situation. It could be physical or emotional. It could be an argument with somebody in your life that's significant, a partner, a best friend, a family member, a child. It could be anybody, even work. And it's really easy to recognize a physical violation because that's when somebody touched you and you did not give them permission to touch you. And when they touched you, it made you literally physically tense up because that was not a desire that you had. It could be as simple as a hug. It could be as simple as somebody just touching you on the shoulder, and maybe you don't want to be touched, but that makes you cringe instead of open up. So that is a violation when you don't want that physical contact and somebody imposes it on you and didn't ask. So that's a total consent issue and something that we as a society are working more on and asking before touching somebody else. Even if you're in a really close and intimate relationship with somebody, it could be that fluid boundary that maybe normally it's okay, but today it's not. That could still come across as a violation. It could happen to where you're emotionally feeling violated. You could, a really good example is somebody taking advantage of your time and your space. It could be your best friend who feels that they have the ability to simply drop by at your house at any given point in time. And they don't call, they don't text you to ask, hey, is it cool if I come over? It's literally just, hey, I'm here. And maybe you don't feel like receiving visitors that day. Not that you don't want to see your best friend, but not right now. It's just not the time. So that could be leaving you and feeling violated that someone came into your space and took over your time when you didn't ask. Any situation where you leave feeling emotionally or physically violated, you know a boundary has been crossed. And that next time, it is your responsibility to know that this is a boundary of yours and to say no. To say that's not okay. to rephrase, even in a polite way. Hey, could you please call me or text me if you're thinking about coming over? Sometimes I'm just not feeling well, or I'm not feeling like dealing with people. It's nothing personal to do with you. And it just states it to the other person. By exerting that boundary, it can help you to feel less violated. But when you do, you know somebody's totally crossed that boundary, and that's not okay. Number 4, you might be feeling some shame and some guilt. And it can be a variety of different reasons, but a big one is that due to the fact that you're trying to people please to be liked, or you feel that you're in a situation and this is how you need to respond, then the other person in the situation is being manipulative with you. It could be maybe there's a couple, you have a child together and one of you wants to go out. So this is arranged, but while you're going out, the person who's watching the child keeps texting how much the child misses you or how much you're needed. It could be not even dealing with a child. It could just simply be somebody that's kind of, they're like that pull on you constantly, telling you, they keep popping up in your text messages, popping up on your social media space, popping up literally into your life and making you feel that you're not doing a good enough job to meet their needs. But let me tell you, it's not your responsibility to meet other people's needs. It's your responsibility to guard and protect yours, and then you can give from there whatever you desire to give. But it's not your responsibility to take that on for them. And so that's where some of that shame and guilt can come into play. Another thing, people, when you're really starting to learn more boundaries, you can feel guilty just for taking time for yourself. And it could be not just the taking time, but even just going out to spend money on yourself. I know I experienced that whenever my child was younger, and I had to learn that it was okay to do things for myself, and that it was okay to also buy things for myself and not just for my child. But there was a lot of shame and guilt that was associated with that until I recognized, and I mean, this was a long process, guys. It's not some overnight thing that you're going to hear this video today and voila, you automatically know. It is a long process. It literally took me years to get over the shame and guilt of doing things just for myself, and that's okay. And I recognize now that when I do those things for myself, I actually can come for other people at a better place and offer a lot more than I could, because I was also feeling the previous things that I mentioned about feeling angry, feeling guilty, feeling violated, all of these things that go into play and cause us to feel that way. And number 5, the last thing that I put together for you is small. You feel small or you feel less than. So I don't know if that's really a feeling, but you definitely don't feel like you're out there. Maybe it's that I'm not good enough. So in these situations, you might be doing things like trying to simply be nice to others because you want them to like you. So you go above and beyond in your niceness to feel liked by other people, and that's in any kind of a social situation. You will begin to just blah, 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 overshare details of your life, and more than what people need to hear. Again, you want to feel more important. You want to feel validated, and you're not feeling that way, and so you're not putting any boundaries on yourself where you actually draw the line on how much information you're giving to another person or how much you're willing to help them. You're helping others just to be liked. And this is a really big, just not putting those boundaries down. When you start this, that starts the cycle of saying yes when you want to say no, saying and agreeing to things that you don't really want to agree to. But if you do this, other people will like you, and it becomes a conundrum. This one I think is it's a little bit harder to really break into and define boundaries around that. And it's also a process and a journey in learning how to love yourself and how to get a better self-esteem. And as you do that, like I said, journey, I'm still on the journey. It's been years that I've really embraced learning about boundaries, learning about putting my foot down, learning about taking care of myself. And I'm still learning. I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning until I die. And I can get down some things and share them with you, and other things, it's still a process. So take these 5 feelings. If you are feeling any of these, resentment and anger, depressed and tired and drained, you feel violated, you feel shame and guilt, or you feel smaller or less than, not good enough. And these situations are caused by not putting your foot down for the things that you need that make you feel better in your life, then examine where you need to put boundaries and then start practicing. And I'll have another video on practicing putting your foot down for boundaries, because that's a whole other thing in and of itself. But I hope you got a lot from this. Feel free to comment down at the bottom. Let me know what you're thinking, if you have any questions. And I hope you have an amazing and wonderful day. Namaste.